everybody. I am a little bit too excited because I get this is like technically, almost like my boyfriend in Milwaukee. That's how we do these things. We are good friends, have been, I don't know, we've known each other for a few years, and started out with quad meets, which was we'll talk about that in a minute. I'll let you explain it, Ashish. But I am just got to think about how excited I am to talk to you and all the things that you're doing. And just the idea of like, wow, resilience to kindness. We were talking about sometimes people are a little bit jaded, right?
Mhm.
And I think you have such a interesting story. And so I think if I can get you to start back from the beginning and talk about that and kind of like, all the way the journey all the way to Milwaukee, and you can throw some quad meets in the middle. How's
Yeah.
that sound?
So yeah, like Lena said, Lena and I've been, great friends since Quad Meet started back in 2019, 2020. We've been staying in touch. We were on so many Quad Meets together. And then, our friendship just evolved, and, we're the best of friends, and we just love chatting with each other. We just love teasing each other, but hey, I respect her, and she's just a phenomenal person. And I always joke with her. I always call her the mayor of Houston, but just because
Yeah.
she just has this like bubbly personality. Like every time you see her, every time like she's on LinkedIn, she just always have this like acronym. She keeps on student. So that's Lena, and she does a great job. And I'm just blessed that we have this amazing connection. And
It's about
yeah, so for
you.
me, man, my journey, it's like crazy. So I mean, obviously, I was born in India, then I grew up in Iowa, and then moved to Indiana. And in Indiana, I met um, who to date is one of my closest friends. We've been friends for 34 years, and so that's a whole nother story. I might even write a book about that down the road. And then went to school in Ohio in Ohio State, and then had time in Kentucky, and then moved to Tennessee. So in Tennessee, I was working as a public servant, working for the state. But prior to that, when I was in Kentucky, that's when like all this health issues started. I mean, I had a
Yeah.
DVT in 2009, and then I had heart surgery in 2013. I had a stroke in 2013, and then I had to go to the Cleveland Clinic. I mean, health issues are just like every so many months I had a health issue pop up. I had blood clots in both my kidneys. I had blood clots in my spleen, and I just was like, it's like I would never like be able to get up. Like I just would one thing after another, and I just felt like, oh my god, what is going on with me? And you know, it
Mhm.
was very tough, and I try to like stay strong. And then going to Cleveland Clinic, they almost thought about doing another heart surgery there, but then they
When
like
was that?
in 20 between 2016 and 2018. That's when I was at the Cleveland Clinic for that period of time. And so the first time I had a growth on my mitral valve, and the second time I had a growth on my aortic valve.
Yeah.
And at that time, they just were like, okay, let's just administer Lovenox instead of warfarin. So they put me on Lovenox instead, and then that started shrinking the growth on my heart valve. So it is what it is. And then having had four separate strokes during that period of time, I guess I call it the dark ages. It's just one of those things where, hey, it happened to me. And when I moved to Nashville, that's when like I got more involved in LinkedIn and quad meets.
Mhm.
That's when
Yeah.
we met.
Yeah.
And
Las Vegas.
Nash Vegas. And then I think Michael Ray,
Yeah.
he came down, and we had a great time, and we um, celebrated or surprised two people who I worked with. So he and I keep in touch until this day. He's like my big brother. I love him to death, and it's all about kindness. So like I always just do things for him, and in here it's just random acts of kindness. And I guess like Michael inspired me just with his big heart. I call him the Smile Buddha,
Yeah.
and I just like feel like it's the right thing to do. And for me, I feel like, I have this place in Milwaukee, but like, yeah, it might look big, but it's just me. Like, I just get
Mhm.
up, my office is around the corner. I walk 10 feet to work and I do my thing. And then in the night, I just go out to the bars and just meet people. And then otherwise I just stay at home. I mean, I have a 75-inch TV, so I just relax. So it's not a bad life.
Yeah.
And for me, I just feel like spreading kindness is the way to go. So I just try to do it as best as I can and take it from there.
But for such a young guy, that's like a lot of health challenges to go through. There's not a good enough word or a hard enough word beyond challenge to get through that and then be able to smile on the other end. Was there something that helped you kind of do you feel like you decided to have a good attitude through it? Were you angry at first? Did it take a while to feel better or to feel like, you could manage and want to spread kindness?
I guess for me, I think it was always who I was. I was always kind. I think even from elementary school, I always thought about just being kind to everyone, and you know, it kind of like helped form the foundation of who I am today. And then after that, I just think, if people aren't going to be like authentic, like a lot of people would say one thing, but then like when you ask them for help, then they'll be like, "Oh, I don't have time," and then I'm like, "Well, you said you would help," and then they're not there. So I would just be like, "Okay, this isn't really like what I feel is like true authentic kindness." So like for
Yeah,
me, I'm always willing to like advertise, "Hey, I have Bucks tickets for the next 3 years. So if anyone wants to go, let me know."
yeah,
But I put it out there, and then if someone responds back, great. But at least I did my part to like advertise it.
yeah,
And then if they don't, hey, I can't feel bad. So for me, I just try to do my best, and if someone doesn't reciprocate, hey, no worries, just kind of go from there. And but yeah, I think when I had the health issues, it did suck, and I felt like, oh my god, what's gonna happen to me? But I just kept going at it, and I just tried to end each day better than when it started, and that's kind of like what got me going. And for me, it's just those little acts of kindness, and you just find something, 25, $30, and you make someone's day. It's a world of a difference.
how do you feel about people that think it's not authentic or think that you might be just saying, look at me, I do this? What's your intent there? Do you want to make other people aware that it's really easy to spread kindness?
I do. I mean, for me, like I just do it out of the goodness of my heart. Like there's this one bar here in Milwaukee that I go to. It's called the Brewery. When I first moved here, it was like a Sunday, and I was like, oh, I just need to get out because I had been unpacking,
Mhm.
getting settled in. I just needed like a drink and just some food. So like every bar I was walking to was like closed. I'm like, dang, this sucks. And then finally I found one that was open. So I was like, okay, let me go. And like the service was great. So
Yeah.
it kind of like, I was like, okay, let me check it out again, see if I like it. And, I just like wrote them a note on the back, said, hey, thank you all for great customer service. You guys are great. Having worked in the service industry before, I understand exactly what it means to be you know, lead with hospitality and spread kindness. So it worked. And then it made, it made me going back like it felt normal. So for me, I just spread kindness, and if they don't appreciate it, at least I know that I spread kindness, knowing that I didn't expect anything out of it. And
Yeah.
when you do things without expectations, it's good. So, and I think that goes back to like what Michael Ray always does. He's just be so happy that when others see you, they smile too. And
Yeah.
that's just what I try to do. And we had some mail thefts in our apartment building. And so the apartment complex, they just like worked with all of us to make sure that packages were safe. So opening day is, well, actually today, but it starts next week here in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So I got one of the apartment managers like a Brewers jersey. And so, it just was like kindness. I'm like, here you go, have a day. Thank you for doing what you do to take care of us here in the building. So, and if they want to look at you, well, and then they'll be like, and here's the thing, well, that guy he got me Brewers jersey. And like, if they complain about that, he's like, for what? And like, just because it's like,
Yeah.
and so it's like, if you do something kind and you don't have any expectations, and I don't think anybody can like hold that against you.
Right. Right.
But
Well,
if people do,
especially,
then that's on them.
yeah. Yeah. What's your long-term goal in Milwaukee there? You want everybody to be kindness spreaders?
I mean, I would love for that.
Yeah,
But I can't, if people are wired a certain way, I can't change
sure.
how they are. But,
Yeah.
I just want to spread kindness and, you know, help people out. Like the staff at the brewery, like it was St. Patty's Day. So, like, I got them like
Mm.
St. Patty's Day t shirts, or like I, I had like an extra wireless headphones from Amazon. So I just like gave that to one of the bartenders, and they were like, oh my God. And like, it's just nice things like that. It
Yeah.
just makes her day. And yeah, Milwaukee's a good city. And, at the same time, it's, I'll at least be here the next 3 to 5 years. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Yeah. That is awesome. That's not a so it seems like a place that is kind of got like, you can get places get there kind of easily on foot and go see people, but I know that it's a lot colder there. We talk about that. I don't know that I would be so kind if I was in, the cold zone. I think I've gotten too used to being here in the warm part of the country, but I think it's great that you make those efforts and without expectation. I think that it seems like this is compounded since quad meets. And if we talk about that for a few minutes, because that really was, I think that was the first kind of networking group that I got into during COVID because, job loss and all that. And Joe Blank and Jeremy and Ryan started it and met Kathleen. I mean, just so many people that I still have friendships with, and you have friendships with, and it's so interesting. Oh, and Dusty.
Yep.
I mean, I can't name everybody, but it was just like so fantastic. But also to see people, it seems like what I've seen through that group and a lot of the people that have come out of that group all just have maintained, a really good attitude even through a lot of personal hardships or other things. So it's interesting that it seems like a lot of extra seeds were planted for people to stay in touch and just have a better outlook, I guess you could say, than usual. What did you get out of that? You were a leader. We were on quad meets like all the time.
I know. I mean, it was fun. Honestly,
Yeah,
like, it was a great way to meet people, great way to connect. Because obviously with COVID, you couldn't really go out. So people were just like, stay in or wear a mask or stay 6 feet apart. So quad meets was a way to connect. Met a lot of great people. Like you said, Dusty, Ryan, yourself, Joe, Kathleen. I try to stay in touch with everybody.
yeah,
Some days it's harder than others, but hey, we all have lives to live. But for me, it just was a great way to connect with everybody. And then when I was leading, it just was fun, just to, like, meet everyone and talk to them, and I just would want to get to know them. I mean,
yeah,
that's who I am. So
yeah,
I'm just outgoing, I'm bubbly, and I just like, it's like my dad. Like, wherever he was, like, he just was always kind. He just was always like happy, and like I try to exude that same happiness moving forward. And
yeah,
he just was always very innocent. I just try to do the same thing. And some people after COVID, it just rubs them the wrong way, and then I'm like, okay, sorry, it rubs you the wrong way, but I'm just here to like spread kindness, and like, if you do something nice, you just do something nice. And I think the world is deprived of kindness. I think like there's just too much crap going on in the world, and
yeah,
obviously people are like on one side or the other, and it's just very tough for people just to like open up. I think that everyone's still like in a shell, and even though like you're meeting people and all of that, like it's just hard. So, you know, for
What do you
me,
think that's from? Do you think it's definitely, we were talking about people getting hardened. Do you think that that is a direct result of COVID?
I do.
Yeah.
I think people are just hard, or like, you know, they just, or maybe that's just how they are. And
Yeah.
like you try to talk to them, it's like one thing. Like as a host, when I was a host, like it was a good way just to talk to people and like
Yeah.
interact with them, and like it was fun. And then, like it was a good way just to meet people and everything like that. And you just be kind, and then, whatever you can do working in hospitality, you figure, hey, how can I make your dinner better? And you go from there. But I don't know. Here, I think just people are just more in Milwaukee. I find that people are a little bit more uptight. I don't know why. I don't know if that
They're
how
cold.
that's in Houston, but
They're cold. That's why.
yeah. What about
No.
Houston? Does everyone
Yeah.
have like their own little rodeo going on?
Well, I mean, we do have like one of the biggest rodeos in the country. So, and then miniature rodeos after that in the different counties. So, yeah, we're a lively bunch here. I think though that you speak to exactly what I think happened, and I think it's going to take even more years, right? For all of that, and I will say almost like in a cold way, like that icy outside, that fear of being back into people, or the comfortability of, I think a lot of people got comfortable by themselves, right? They got okay with being sheltered in and things. And even if they weren't comfortable to start, right? As they got used to it, they got a little too used to it, right? And now being back out, everybody, we've had a few years, but I think probably, would you say, like in this last year, more and more and more, like the crowds are back, all the things. And I think that it's possible that it's just taking a while, I don't know, for people to kind of heal,
Yeah.
and realize it's okay. Like, everybody is not out to get everybody, or to need something from somebody else. And I think that that's part of it, right? I think, oh, look, yeah, Yolanda said that COVID exacerbated our divisiveness. And that's so true. And I think it's a matter of all kinds of divisiveness, right? Like, just being able to be humans and say, hey, how are you doing? You know, we shouldn't have to hold back that because we
Yeah.
don't actually think the exact same thing.
I agree. And I think for me it's just go do something kind, and if they act differently, then it's on them. That's how I look at it now. And I think
Yeah.
before I take it personally, but now I'm like, hey, it's on them. If you're doing something nice, you did something nice. You try to be authentic. You try to be kind. And if they don't want to respond, that's on them. So it's unfortunate, but hopefully, like it's getting better. And I think like with
Yeah.
the brewery here in town, like
Yeah.
I go in and one of the bartenders like, you should just like, we should just now know you like what you always get. And I'm like, hey.
Oh, look, Jason, cool. He's so cool.
But yeah, I mean, for me, it's just great just to go out there and spread my kindness, spread my energy, and
Yeah.
sometimes like I do nice things, like like with the ticket office, like the agent, she was like so helpful to me, and
Yeah.
like I just joked with her. I said, hey, I'll buy season tickets if I can get like courtside seats for a few games before the playoffs
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
So she showed me her seats. She walked me around, gave me her sales pitch. I was listening, like, yeah, yeah, nodding my head. I got it. I got it. And then she comes back, and then her boss was like, here you go. Oh my God, courtside seats. And it was like phenomenal. And then,
Yeah.
obviously, like the Bucks play tonight. And so I, messaged her, said, you got any courtside seats for the Celtics? She said,
Yeah.
no, we don't. But I found tickets like 10 rows from the court. So I'm like, yeah, it's not bad. So,
That's
um,
awesome.
but yeah, I mean, so I sent her in the office sunflowers, and you know what? Like I'm like, hey, it's a bright day, spread kindness, and I said thank you, staff, for being super amazing and just making my Bucks experience like great. And she like texted me back. She's like, "You didn't have to do that, but oh my god, these are so beautiful."
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, you went out of your way to make sure that I had a great time, and this is like my way of showing thanks to you." And it's like,
Yeah.
it wasn't like red roses, like you profess your love to someone. No, it's just
Yeah.
sunflowers. Like and like it said, like I look for like the friend category. So like when they see it,
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, friend category." So you know, how people are with
I didn't get
flowers.
any friend category flowers.
Well, I know, but like, so like, I mean, I just did that. And I was just like, "Hey, here you
Yeah.
go," and
Yeah.
he was just like so blown away. And I was like, "Hey, you provided great service
Mhm.
that convinced me to invest in the Bucks for 3 years." And obviously I knew like Giannis was under contract for 3 years. Team's gonna be good for 3 years. So
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but like the way she did it, and like I told her like my price point, and I said I didn't want to spend more than this per month. And then after that, she basically just said, "Hey, here's what we have, and then
Yeah.
you can sell up to 25% of your tickets, playoff and regular season." I'm like, okay, so I was doing the math in my head. Like, if I spend this much, I could probably make most of it back in the playoffs and then go from
Yeah.
there. So
Cool.
it was just basically like it's an investment. It's
Yeah.
like I've invested in something that I like, so I can go to all the good games, and then I can
Yeah.
sell all the tickets to the games I don't really want to go to,
Yeah.
and make my money back. Even if I
Yeah.
like recoup like 80% of what I invested in, like that's still pretty damn good. So,
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, I
Same.
mean that's just me, like kindness, and you know, if you can't be kind, then I don't know how else you can be in this world. So
You can be grumpy.
yeah, and I don't like to be grumpy.
Did you see Jason jumped on? Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, I call him
Yeah.
Mr. XXO because
That's
he
just
looks like
funny.
Mr. Clean
I
with that
know.
picture, so I just call him Mr.
Yeah.
XXO. But he's a phenomenal guy.
Yeah.
Respect the man. Super
Yeah.
awesome.
Yolanda, you should connect with Yolanda. If you want somebody that spreads kindness, Yolanda just shows up and it is kindness. She is fantastic. She
Awesome.
always, yeah, yeah. I know that like we're not superstars, we're not selling our wares or anything, but I thought it was really important to just like have a normal conversation about how there's Tina too, how important it is just to kind of be a nice person,
Yeah.
right? Like we just get down to a nice person. And I think also, when I facilitate for people that are getting ahead in a just getting by world, and they're, really trying to break the chains of poverty. And so a lot of times there can be a pressure to think that you do have to spend something to show appreciation or to be nice. And I wonder if you feel the same way. It's like you can open the door for someone. You can look up, and I know I've said this before. It's like you can, as you're getting your groceries swiped, and going to pay $1 million, you can look at that person in the eye that's doing that and say, thank you. I hope you have a great day or something like that. Do you think that that's a fair way to spread kindness when you maybe just don't have, funds, or maybe it's just not that moment that you can do that to just say, hey?
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, anything you can do to spread kindness, open the door. Even for me, it's like I just write. If I don't have like enough to tip, like I always tip like. So like at the restaurants that I really like, so like the brewery, like I tip like 200%. So it's like, like if the bill's like 20, I leave like $60 tip, and I'm like, hey, you guys are great. And like I write on the back like, hey, great service. You guys are like one of the best bars in Milwaukee, and keep spreading your kindness and hospitality. So it's like even like writing a note or opening a door, like this, so something like that. If it comes from your heart,
Yeah.
it's not going to like have a price tag on it, but like the response that they get is like, oh my god, this is like phenomenal. And so like I always do that with like when I go to the brewery, like I always just write them notes like hashtag best bar in MKE, or you
Uh-huh.
guys were great. I really appreciate you guys. And like if they read it, they do. If not, hey, at least I tried, and I try to open the door and just talk to everybody there. And on the weekends, if I go, like the bouncer, he and I just you know shoot the breeze, and we're just chit chat, catch up, and go from there. But it's all about just trying to be authentic, have it spread from your heart, and then go from there. And if you can't do that, then you got to look at yourself in the mirror. And or there's many coaches out here on LinkedIn who can help you out. So
Yeah. Lots of coaching. That is true. Yeah. Lighten up, right?
yeah, I think like you said, I think even with COVID, people are still like in their shell, and it's just
Mhm.
about opening up and just sharing that kindness that you have within you. I think everyone has kindness within us. I think it's just buried under a lot of stuff from COVID. So,
Yeah.
and I think like once um, you do that behavior a few times, like it just becomes habit. Like for me, it just is now habit. It's just doing it. So, um, like there's a meteorologist here in town. She graduated from Ohio State,
Yeah.
and so like I when I was during COVID, I had that Brutus costume that I
Yeah.
purchased. It was one of those COVID purchases, but I'm like whatever. And so like I was on Twitter, and like I dressed up in the Brutus, and then like I just tagged her, and I'm like, Brutus says hi, you're the best meteorologist, and she like loved it, and like I'm like, hey, it made her day, and you know what?
Yeah.
That's what it's about. I
Yeah.
mean, you look at Michael Ray, like he just dresses up. I think there was that one time he dressed up as, was it a unicorn? Or he dressed up as something,
Yeah.
walking down the street, and like just the stuff he does. Like
Yeah.
if he can do that and bring kindness, why can't we do that and bring kindness?
Yeah.
So that's just how I am, and like I'm not trying to take away anything from Michael. He
Yeah.
made me an ambassador for Smile Project Louisville, so that's kind of like what I do. Like I'm not
Yeah.
here to, you know,
Yeah.
I'm just. He calls me JR, and I just run with it. So I just go out, spread kindness, and do what I can. So
You do have some other nicknames, and so we have to talk about that before we go. You are AKA Iron Man as well.
so yeah, I'm not like a triathlete or anything like Iron Man, whatever. But like in the Avengers, obviously. So
Yes.
Ryan, he always called himself Thor because
Oh,
that was like his nickname. And then Dusty, he always likes to work out, so we call him Hulk. And then Iron Man because he had that thing right in his heart, and he had like a heart surgery. So
yeah.
I guess for me, like Iron Man, kind of like is my the name that I took was because I've had several heart surgeries,
Yeah.
and I have, and while he has like that, he had that device that helped prevent the things from infecting his heart. I
Yeah.
inject myself twice a day with blood thinners to prevent any more complications with my rare blood clotting disorder. So I feel like in the same way, like I'm kind of like Iron Man, based on that. But
Yeah.
like I'm not a billionaire. I try to be a philanthropist, but hey, I just try to do what I can, and yeah, so it's fun, and kind of go from there. But yeah, that's why I'm like my nickname Iron Man. So I love it.
Yeah. That's a great story. That is super fantastic. You are very special. I'm grateful to know you. I think that just keep being you and keep doing what you have been doing of just spreading the kindness. Like, it just proving to people that you can be the person on the street. It's okay to be the person on the street. They don't need to know that you are actually Iron Man. They can just emulate the things you do by doing the simple acts of treating someone else as good or if not better than yourself. And I mean, it really matters.
It
And
does.
so I think that just if you infect one person with that kind of we spread that, right, infect them with happiness and kindness. There's nothing bad about that. So
No, I agree. I think that's just the thing. If you can change one person with kindness, great. And
yeah,
if you can't, at least you tried. And
yeah.
that's the way to do it. And it's
And don't get offended, right?
yeah. And that's the thing. Like just be kind. And if someone doesn't respond, hey, it's not on you. It's on them for either A, not having the courtesy to respond, or B, they might have something else going on. Because, like, for me, um, I just like to, obviously, I mean, I have an extra ticket to the Bucks game. So I always like tell people, hey, if you want to go, let me know.
Yeah.
But no one wants to like go. So I'm like, okay. But I leave it out there. And then if
Yeah.
I can't go, then I'll sell 2 tickets, make my profit, and call it a day. So that's just what I try to do. And, you have a free ticket, Lena. So you just have to come up to the. I'll try to do it before it gets like 2 feet of snow. Otherwise, you won't come. Or you could wear like your cowgirl hat, and come up there. And then if it's like a
Okay.
national televised game, they'll like find you. Oh my God, what's that lady from Texas doing?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's okay. Well, that's possible. Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, that's so right, Yolanda. Do you see that? She says you are a philanthropist.
Yep.
You seek to promote the welfare of others, and that's really true. A wonderful thing. You know, it's a choice with illness and things that you have to continue to fight. It is a choice to not be bitter or sad or like, just all within yourself on having to deal with that. And, you know, it's easy to say, oh, it's a choice not to. It's easy to say that. It's not easy to do that, especially on a daily basis, to just get up and decide, hey, I'm gonna treat the world good today, regardless. So I can't thank you enough for being you, but I'm grateful to know you.
Yeah, I mean, it's some days are harder than the others, but for me, like I just try to get up and I just try to end each day better than when it started. And if some days like I just like on a weekend, if I just don't want to do anything, like I just like get
You do.
up, get ready, and just sit on my couch and watch Netflix all day. I mean, but hey, I feel like I've earned it, and you know, go from there. And then if I want to go out and do something nice, I will. Like then it's just like random acts of kindness. You just go out and do it, and then if things don't work out as you expected, hey, you tried, and that's
That's right.
all that matters. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good to talk to you, my friend.
you as well. And yeah, if you want to go to a Bucks game, offers on the table. I got it for the
Okay.
next 3 years. So
Oh, okay. Okay. So we're kind of solid there. Well, I kind of have a whole lot of major teams here. So you might have to come to a baseball game.
okay,
Come to the Astros. Probably be nosebleed tickets, but
no problem.
I'll take you to Astros game.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
They are looking good this year.
I
So
think they did real good last year.
yeah, they
So
did.
let's see. I want to thank everybody for coming. We needed to, yeah, that's so true. We needed to decompress so we can better serve others. That's a good statement. Everybody, thanks for coming. And I hope you all now are ready to spread some kindness for the day and are motivated. And if you're in these cold places, stay warm and stay friendly, stay happy. And we'll talk again. We'll see you. Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Be kind.